sorry about that. Jumping the gun.
You pen.
All right, you're good.
High quality TV pens.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Shade Tree Commission meeting dated August 22nd, 2024. Okay, so 5:02 p.m. All right, a little late. Sorry about that. Okay, so roll call. You want to do that? Thank you. Here. Is your mic on?
I'll start again.
Okay.
Miss Adams,
Here.
Mr. Vanacola,
Here.
Miss Wagner,
Here.
Mr. Rice, Mr. Flynn,
Here.
Mr. Hoshbach.
Here.
Yeah, John Rice is in Spain, so he couldn't attend today. All right, so let's pause for a moment of silence and then we'll stand for a pledge of allegiance. Okay, and if we could stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, thank you. So the agenda, consider approving the agenda. Okay, and we got a first, I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so I understand, so under public comment for agenda items only, I understand that we have some members of the public here that would like to switch up the public comment to earlier in the meeting so that you all don't have to stay. So by all means, we'll go ahead and do that.
Now it is. Paul Seligson, 4727 Mill Hollow Lane. I'm also the chairman of Newtown Square and Bloom. Newtown Square and Bloom just got a grant from the giant Heal the Planet, giant food shops, healing the planet, and that's for $4,000. And then we got a second grant from State Representative Lisa Borowski for $10,000. And we just got notification last Thursday. And it turns out that the Heal the Planet grant, we have to spend it. It has to be in place, planted by November 30th. And I have to send back pictures. So there's sort of a little bit of dispatch to all this. And that's why we're asking for you to consider. I have a list of species. We'd like to plant. I've been working with John and with Dave Helbert, and we have a list of species that we've agreed on. I'd love to get your blessing about this, and I think you probably will find it okay because it's.
Paul, I just want to talk about where the project is.
Yeah.
And where we met.
Yeah.
So the project.
And the intent of the project.
Yeah. So the project, it would be Goshen Walking Trail, and Goshen Walking Trail has lost a lot of their ash trees due to the emerald ash borer. And so for the people that walk and run on Goshen Walking Trail frequently, they're kind of really buzzed by the traffic. And this would make sort of a buffer. It would be a combination of shrubs and trees that would make a buffer so that if you're walking or running on the Goshen Walking Trail, it'd be a little bit more secluded. What else did you want to?
So you covered the location and the intent. And in addition to that, Pico came through and removed a bunch of trees over the last 2 years. So this is obviously a very viable project that to me is a no-brainer. Let's plan. On your list, the only two changes that I recommended from Paul and Dave, the list is the pin oaks, Purchas plasters. I did not want those planted because of all the bacterial leaf sports that is throughout Newtown Square. So I asked for willow oak, Purchas fellows, which will be a great substitute.
Okay.
And then instead of a white pine, a single white pine, I like to have red cedar for more thermal cover.
That was the very last item, the white pine, and it's been changed already to red cedar, but I don't know if the pin oak has. Yeah. So there's a flow chart that goes with this. Cindy Mahalo has been instrumental in trying to, in engineering a flow chart. And we know the sequence of what's gonna happen. Dave Hilbert we just met with him on the front steps here before your meeting. And he needs to start ordering the trees, September 1st, September 5th, something like that. And that's gonna be before your next meeting. So is it possible for me to ask you to just peruse the list and if there's any red flags, let us know? Or if you kind of like what you're seeing, just let us know that too.
Or, yeah, I think that's completely possible. I don't mind doing that. I mean, I think what we would have to do procedurally, could we do like a conditional approval as long as it's approved by John and all of that?
And just to bring you up to speed on some other details and logistics, not to hold up the meeting. So there is some ground cover invasive management that's going to occur through brush hog work.
Okay.
And some manual cutting, mechanical cutting. And then the locations will be Dave, Cindy, Paul, and also Mr. George. Obviously, because there are some sightline issues and maintenance issues where they have, their egress. At that point, once those areas are denoted on a plan, Public Works is going to come in and pre-dig those holes for the volunteers. Okay. Well, they're gonna be more than 6 inches because they're 10-gallon plants.
Well, in speaking with Dave about this, we thought we would follow a similar process to what we did at the Gable Park planting, which was very successful. And what he actually did is they pre-drilled with the 6-inch auger the holes.
Okay.
And then the volunteers expanded. them.
Okay,
But
yeah.
Yeah,
That wasn't
yeah, the
explained today.
holes
Got it,
need
got
to
it,
be
got it,
bigger,
got
but
it.
it's still, it just helps break through the sod.
Got it.
But that's kind of the model is we felt that tree planting went very well. There was like over 100 trees and shrubs planted and volunteers did the whole thing with set up, coordinated by Dave and with a lot of public works support in advance.
So Cindy should perhaps say a few words about the volunteers that she's contacting to do the planning itself.
Cindy Mahalo, 87 Hunters Run. As I said, we're following a similar process to what we did at Gable Park, where we had quite a few volunteers and kind of a two-phase process. And I've reached out to the various people. Phase one, we're thinking would be Friday afternoon, where I've already reached out to CRC. Lynn Meza is the Director of Volunteer Services there. And she has a lot of contacts with corporations whose employees are frequently looking for community service projects. They like to do them on Friday afternoons. So I've reached out to her and waiting to hear back from her. But the thought is that those volunteers are usually quite effective. And then on Saturday morning, we would do whatever finish up work we need. And I've reached out to the high school AP honors teacher, coordinator, advisor at the high school. I'm reaching out to Episcopal Academy. I've reached out to the Boy Scouts. I'm going to put an announcement in the Master Watershed Steward. So we're doing an all points, effort to get some volunteers on Saturday morning.
That sounds great, Cindy. Yeah, thank you. I did have a question, Paul. How many trees are you
30
proposing?
trees, 20 shrubs, roughly.
And then, and then what's the,
Just one last thing is on Goshen Walking Trail. He's really aiming for the far end where there's been less planting. I know there's been a lot of planting along the trail, which is great. But there still are those gaps that could really benefit from shrubs. Yeah.
Sure. And what were the dates again? I'm sorry.
So it would be Wednesday. I mean, we would start the pre-work on Wednesday, the 16th, I believe. Thursday is the 17th, Friday is the 18th, and the Saturday is the 19th. I think that's right. Roughly.
Oh, September,
Friday and Saturday.
September,
October.
October.
That would be the volunteer day.
Okay.
Friday and Saturday, pre-digging by EW, either Tuesday or Wednesday, weather.
Okay. All right. And then Did you need any of our help to dig?
Well, we'd love volunteer help, sure.
Okay.
The more bodies we have, the faster it goes, and
Okay.
it's more of a laughing matter, and instead of 3 people, if we had 20 people, we could do it, bang, crash it right out. She's gonna be in a plane going to California.
Well, that's great. Okay. Do you guys have any questions, concerns?
Oh, it's good. Great idea.
Carol?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, all right, this, let's see, so I guess we need to make a motion. So I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of Newtown Square in Bloom and in EAC. Are you guys doing that together? Is it just all you guys, or it's just the grants? Okay, just Newtown Square in Bloom, okay, for our support for the effort to plant more trees along Goshen Walking Trail and using the Heal the Planet grant money that was received from Giant Food Stores, as well as the grant given from Lisa Burkowski for this effort. And the dates would be in October, and the planting is actually on the 18th. Is that correct? Okay.
Produce 30.
All right, so planting of the shrubs on Saturday, the 18th, and trees on the 19th. All right, so do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
I know that was a really long, messy
I'll,
motion.
I'll make it briefer.
Thank you. All right, thank you, guys.
We thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
We look forward to helping out. Thank you. Okay.
Spent a lot of time here today, pal.
Thank you. Okay. All right, moving on then to the minutes. Consider approving the minutes from the July 25, 2024 meeting. I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That was unanimous. All right, so 7.1, discussion and possible recommendation of the land development application for 4605 West Chester Pike. All right, do you want to go ahead, Andy, and give kind of a overview?
Well, I mean, I did a site and plan review. Fortunately, no trees are being removed. As per the applicant's plan set. Grading is pretty much designed to be around the existing frontage within the LOD. So there is no trees. I went out to confirm there is no trees. The only thing I requested of the applicant is there is trees along the peripheral. However, they're not going to be touched, but just as a safety precaution, I am requesting tree protection fence for those areas.
Okay,
Just because I'm worried about material storage or, supplies being dropped off or trucks parking on the edge, you know how that works.
Mhm.
So just as a secondary precaution, there won't be any compaction. There is a curb and all that stuff. So it's not like trucks and stuff are going to be running over these areas, but just as a secondary, I have not heard back. That was sent, I guess, last week to the applicant.
okay. So it's my understanding that the site doesn't have any trees because those trees were clear cut several years ago, I guess, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, do they have a landscaping plan
They do.
and it's
Yep.
okay by you?
Yeah, it was decent. It was a decent plan, a lot of natives, decent plan. Typical plan for that type of property. Yep. Oh, I did request, they do have an area, small area where they were requesting Zelkovas. My concern with Zelkovas are, the girdling root factor, so I asked that they needed something upright and tight. I asked for ginkgos to be planted there to add some fall color, which I think will look nice.
Guys have any questions or comments?
No.
Carol?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, hold on. No.
No.
All right. So, all right, okay, so, do we have any public comment?
Cindy Mahalo, 87 Hunters Run, EAC. John, the EAC also reviewed this plan and we looked at the landscape plan kind of from a biodiversity perspective. I noticed they specified a lot of arborvitae. And I just wondered, do you have any concerns about those and deer browse?
They're on the Green Giants.
You think
Yes.
those will be okay there? Okay,
The emerald greens are very much beer food. Had great success. with
the
you.
green giants,
So
good.
they're,
Okay,
you know, big screen.
can you describe opaque screening?
So so Green Giant has a bell shaped kind of, if you look at it, it's more conical with fat bottom to it. And the way they're planting them, they'll all be combined together and form one massive screen.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they were putting screening around.
Oh, no.
No, okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
Screening in terms of their evergreen buffering.
great. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
So do we need to take any action on this?
Want to offer recommendation? That will go to. I don't think it's necessary to go to the planning commission, they're a recommended body as well.
Mhm.
Whatever your recommendation is on this project, we can capture in an action and we move forward to your design. And then that'll be handed out to the board when this project hits their agenda.
To make sure that that fence is provided and also the Zelkovas are substituted.
Your blockage along West Chester Pike at the fence screen.
I think that you could pass this with, or make a recommendation contingent on all the things in John's letter. And that would probably take
Right.
care of everything that you want to cover.
Right, that's what I was thinking, thanks. All right. Yeah. Okay, all right, does. All right, so, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the land development application for 4605 West Chester Pike contingent, on the acceptance of the arborist recommendation in his letter dated August 18th. Will I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Right, do we have any new business? It doesn't look like it. All right, so going on to old business. Update on the fall tree planting event. So it's been really exciting. And I really have to give a huge shout out to Sheila O'Sullivan, who has just gone above and beyond with knocking on doors, evading dogs. As she's gone door to door to try to encourage some of the property owners along Winding Way and Beechwood Road. And so she provided a summary. She called me the other night and I asked her to provide a summary so that I could better reflect to you all at all the work that's been done. So I'll go ahead and I'll read this. It's the letter or the email was dated August 22nd, 2024. And she says, the township mailed out the postcards regarding the Fall Street Tree Program, Phase 1, to every property owner on Winding Way and Beechwood Road on Tuesday, July 30th. I picked up the blue flyers regarding the program from the township on Tuesday, July 30th, and personally delivered them to all 36 homes. Wow, that's amazing. Great job, Sheila. This was completed by Wednesday, July 31st. In addition, I've spoken to the majority of residents sent out text messages regarding the program. Also, an email was sent out to the neighborhood group. We recognize that many residents were away for the summer. Therefore, Friday, August 15th, the Friday, August 15th deadline was extended for a week or two. Steve, Trish, and I were okay with this. Since we still have some trees available, we started offering trees to the residents at the top of Ashley Road, which connects to Beechwood Road. Ashley and Brookside have been identified for the 2025 street tree planting plan. We've started offering trees to individual residents starting from 153 Ashley to 147 Ashley Road for now. As of this morning, we have 37 trees ordered. This includes 21 residents with 16 requesting a second tree. And she provided a chart. The majority of the residents would like a second tree. I'm thrilled that we have 5 properties in a row that have taken advantage of the program. This is especially helpful as they are located on the hill, so it will definitely help to reduce stormwater runoff. I am in the process of trying to encourage an adjunct 6 property to do the same. In conclusion, Maura has done a great job with tracking all the orders and was able to help an elderly resident with her form. Maura has sent you a full breakdown for each species of tree ordered. We look forward to the STC taking the next steps. This would include ordering the trees, contacting call before you dig for the utilities, and communicating with the residents to confirm the date and all the necessary details. Cindy and I are available if the STC wants to come out to scope the site. We look forward to working together on this exciting project. So that's really fantastic news that we had such good response. Did you have anything to add, Steve?
No, I would just say that I think the key right now is to decide, are you comfortable with what the scope is? And if you are, and the fact that we could potentially be doing about, a good number of the properties are actually getting 2. So if you're comfortable with that, the question is, do we need to expand it any further? And are we okay stopping, taking what we have, doing the project, making sure it works well, and then deciding if we go forward? I think that's the direction that we need from you all tonight.
One of the things that I was looking at was when we went to start this, and we not knowing what the trees are going to cost and trying to figure out the cost of the gator bags and all that other stuff that goes with it. And we sort of did a rough calculation, and 37 trees was the number we came up with as our total. So I would request that we not sort of go trying to get any more trees, because we'll be able to get better tree, I'd rather have more money left over than have to be trying to, scrape the bottom of the barrel, trying to get enough money to pay for the trees.
Makes great sense.
I mean, I'm happy with 37 in that area. I think
Yeah.
that's a really good project. I think it will have an impact, particularly talking about the size of trees you want to do. So, but I just want to make sure that we don't have to do anything as staff going forward, that you guys are going to take next steps, and then we'll be prepared to support you as you need.
I think we'll stand pat on this one.
Yeah,
Did they order trees?
Yeah,
No, that says that they ordered trees on order.
as of
Or they
this morning, we
people-
have 37 trees ordered. That means the landowners have said they wanted, that's their order, not that the trees have
Two
been.
different things.
Let me be very
The trees
clear.
have been-
Let me be very clear. No trees have actually been ordered from a nursery at this point.
Yeah, so these are ordered from the residents, not ordered from the nursery.
They have,
We have 37 orders for trees.
That still need to be ordered from a nursery.
And we need you to work on that.
Yes.
You've got the connections with
Yeah.
the nursery.
So, so are you guys good with the 37? You
I
don't
it's a
think,
good- No, I think it's a good number to get the right size caliper tree and
yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally, I think we hit the target, I think is what we were looking for, so I
Yep.
think this
So
is
basically,
ideal.
do the 37, if money's left over, then we can go ahead and, if someone wants a second one, if we have available, whatever, get what we
Now,
can
this
get. but
includes
you-
the second ones.
This, this
Yeah.
includes
Oh.
second trees for
Yeah,
all of those
so-
properties.
So it
Oh,
says
yeah.
how many,
I think there's 16 second trees. So there's
All right.
21 properties that have requested it, as I interpret this, and
Yep.
16 second trees, making the total of 37.
right?
All right.
Right. Are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, great.
And here's what I would say. I would say, let's go out, let's make our plan, let's see if we can get the order. If the order comes in a little bit more than what budget is, remember, we told the folks on the second tree that there may be additional costs,
Right,
and I don't have a problem if we come back and let's say that overall it costs us an extra $200 and we're spreading that $200 over 16 trees. That's not a lot of money.
right. Okay, sounds good to me. Right,
Then we need to figure out what is our next step.
so the next step is, Rob, you need to reach out to your contacts, is that right? And then find out what the costs are and what the availability is? You think that they have all these species?
Yeah, they should.
Okay, so that shouldn't be an issue.
can help out with that as well. Just get a
Okay.
second eye.
Genus, not species. So we're gonna, we don't know what the species are.
Well, what kind of trees? I mean, I get it, I know, I'm sorry.
But I'm wondering
Yeah,
what
it's behind
people
that.
are,
Underneath the other one.
when they say maple.
Well,
Red maple, I would say.
yeah,
But I was just curious
Either.
when they say like maple.
October glory, red sunset, whatever.
it's a free maple tree. So, okay. All right, so next steps.
Good, nobody wanted a problem.
Reach out, nurseries. And so you'll get the costs. And then,
Yes.
once we get what the costs are for the trees, then reach out to who in the township?
I'm gonna ask that everything go through Mara,
Okay,
because that way I have somebody who's at the desk most of the time, and
okay,
you're not, and I don't want somebody sending something to me and it getting lost in the middle of something I'm doing, so.
Yeah.
But Mara will we'll have a conversation with Mara to make sure that when that comes in, that she knows next steps,
okay.
and then we'll do that, but we'll get a purchase order issued and we'll get
Okay.
ready to go.
Are the dogwoods being used as an understory tree? Or a shade tree along the road? Because if it's supposed to be a large shade tree along the road, dogwood's gonna play.
Well, a
There's a lot
lot,
of
it's,
dogwoods.
yeah, it's my understanding is that a lot of the residents did not want really big trees. So they requested dogwoods.
I mean, remember,
But
all
that
of
kinda
these,
defeats the purpose of shading the highway, right? To cool down the roads and, doesn't it?
well, I mean, I guess, did we put dogwood as an option? I mean, I think they picked from the options that we gave them, so therefore,
So maybe
I-
next year, if we're that concerned about it, we not offer that then,
Yeah.
right?
I think people picked based on
Well,
what I thought there were five, and I think it was species that were given, but maybe it wasn't. But I thought there were 5 options that they were given to select from.
Jeff, just remember, folks, remember, we gave a smaller option for that sole purpose of somebody wanting a smaller tree.
right, and because of power lines as well.
Yeah.
So that was the reason why we had, but, I mean, this is our first one, and maybe we think about it more for next year, but for this pilot. I mean, this could be, let's just see how it goes and we'll go from,
Well, that's fine. I'm just saying that if our goal is to shade the highway to cool the roads down.
Dogwoods aren't
trees,
doing
we're
it.
never gonna do it.
No, but on the other side, flip side of that is, people sometimes don't want that leaf litter. That concern risks later on, and if we can get them to plant a tree, even if it's a minor tree, I think it's a bonus for the township.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying the
No, I agree.
ultimate goal is to get a tree-lined street.
Yeah.
Like it used to be. I mean, that's fine. We'll plant what we'll plant this time, but we can,
And we may just start limiting, like if we say, going forward, the next time when we see that, we'll say we're limiting only 10% of the trees can be X or whatever. I mean, I think the key is, and I'm not a tree person, but I think the idea within any situation is to make sure you have a variety along the street, because it gives dimension.
like when I saw dogwood, I was thinking their second tree's a dogwood, their first tree's a large shade tree, and then the second one's the understory tree. That's what I was. You know what I mean?
I didn't see the numbers. How many
Well,
dogs?
there's 37 trees, 16 of them are dogwoods,
Okay,
so almost half.
yeah, so it's on that table.
He probably doesn't have that.
Oh, you don't have the agenda? Okay, well, let's capture that, Carol, as a next, as a lesson learned, maybe for next year.
Not saying that,
I hear you, but I
Not
think you're right. I
saying
like
that-
your idea though of the first tree should be a shade tree, and if you want a second tree, it should be a dogwood, unless you're under power lines, then your first tree can be a dogwood.
I don't think power lines are a big deal in that neighborhood. Most of the stuff
Well,
runs
I mean, when
behind.
we're talking about other neighborhoods
Yeah.
too, I mean, we're thinking throughout the township, right? So, I mean, we could maybe tailor it to the specific area each year. We could do that.
I mean, we
too.
could go back to the 10 people who have asked for dogwoods as the first tree. And we could have a conversation with them if you want to do that. I mean, that's a question.
I'm
I would say just leave it alone for now. Or
Okay.
tailor it. Don't upset the apple cart. They did
Yeah.
all the legwork. They
Yep.
got people to say yes, and they're doing it. That's better than not doing it.
Yeah,
We got the numbers we wanted.
yeah,
Some people wanted two, and when other people see, then we just say, if you have one large shade tree, an understory tree's fine.
yeah.
You know what I mean? If you already have a large shade tree in your front yard, our ultimate goal is to explain it, that's all.
Yep. No, I don't
Just go
disagree
from
with
there,
you.
but just do it the way it is now. It's all
Okay.
set up. They said to people what they're gonna get.
I think
so
we
we'll
should
do it.
make a note for next year so that we remember that
Yeah.
and then move forward.
All right.
So if you could capture that in the minutes, Carol, that for next year, that maybe the preference would be your first tree is a shade tree. If your second tree, it's an understory, unless there's other obstructions like power lines, then the smaller tree would be okay. All right. All right, so next steps, just to reiterate, so Rob, you're gonna reach out to the nurseries. When you get the amount, right, of what it would
Yeah.
cost, then that invoice would then be sent to Maura. And then you guys would do a purchase order. All right, and then send us, so that'll happen.
So Rob, if it's not, I know you may not know this when you're talking, but if it's a nursery we've dealt with before, that'll be easy, but if it's not, then I'm going to need a W-9 from them as well.
Yeah. That's not the problem.
Okay. All right, and then,
That is our planting.
well, hold on. So when the trees come in, are they being delivered here to the township? And then are we storing them in the nursery, or are we going to schedule pickup close to when the event is going to be, so they don't have to sit for a while?
That's why I was chasing George down for the 4 times I was down here in the past week or
Okay.
so, and I keep missing.
So we still need to get.
I've been
So
hoping
here's what I would tell you. George and I talked, if we can get the best
Get him
deal.
now, he's okay with that? putting-
We're okay
Okay.
bedding them in for now, or,
Okay.
you know, placing them in the area, taking care of them until that time. And then we'll deliver them, you know, the week of and do that. So we're fine with that. If the nursery doesn't care when they're delivered, obviously, we'd prefer to be waiting.
You want them delivered? You're not,
Oh, we,
depending where it is,
yeah, depending on where it is.
yeah. Because the one I called is all the way in Chesapeake City, Maryland.
Okay,
One place I inquired about, he said, send me the list and we'll work up a price for you. The guy said that the sale said that I dealt with before, so, you know. I know they have one field that they have to get out of. They have like 500 acres that are,
well, look, if we can
Leases
take
off.
advantage of a good
Yeah.
price, I'll send a truck and we'll
but
go.
most of the stuff, I mean, it's big stuff though, in there, this, that they gotta get out of their nursery. And it's not, I mean, this is like 4-inch caliber stuff, not,
Yeah.
big stuff.
Well,
But he has to go, I have to send him the list. I spoke to him like about a week and a half ago, I spoke to him.
well, let us know what we need to do.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Okay.
Remember, if the tree's too big, we need a.
I'd say I'd go get them, but.
What was that?
I say I'd take the day and go get them, but I don't. I think it's gonna probably require a bigger truck than what I'm,
Probably.
From
Supposed to.
Maryland, it's a far ride to Maryland,
Yeah,
although I could jump on my boat. It's right there.
okay, all right. Okay, all right, so we've got storage. So we're asking for delivery and by the nursery. And then store here at the township.
John, what do you think about locusts? Is that okay for a street tree? Shade Master?
Sorry, Shade Master.
Okay. And then we're going to, or how far in advance do you need to call the power company or the call before you dig? Get that done.
PA1,
Yeah,
at least 3 days.
okay. And it,
Weather permitting.
And they'll give you a dig date from X to X. That is good.
okay,
Just remember though, you only have 10 legal days to get them in after that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They give you,
right. So.
I mean, and what I will tell you, sometimes we do a double call. So we'll call, go mark where we think we want them, call, see, and if we come back and see that this spot is potentially a problem, then we move the spot. And then we'll go back out and do the call the day before, or
Okay.
3 days before, so they come back out and mark before we actually go out. But
So,
we've done that several times.
okay, so is someone in the township gonna do the PA1 call, or is that something that we need to do?
we are the township.
Well, I know, I meant staff versus us.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to George about us doing.
Okay,
I mean, someone's gonna have to go out, obviously, mark it in white, PA1, and mark it where they can come in and, you know.
Do you all want to do the marking of where you want them?
I mean, someone's gonna have to, I mean, we gotta figure out, I mean, I guess Sheila or whatever knows the people of what they want. So then we'll have to go out and see. Like. I mean, some main things might be obvious, like a sewer line or whatever like that, or you might have the water cap or something like that, you know, with a shut off valve, you might see that right away, that you know not to go in line or, you know, something. But most of the wires will be above ground there, so you'll have gas, water, and so in Verizon, even if it was underground, they won't mark it.
No, that's
You just
very
dig
true.
through it and they fix it.
okay.
Trust me, I've done it many times.
So how are we, so we're gonna
What's
so
the
do
date we're
you-
doing this again?
October 12th.
We're doing it October 12th?
Yeah, that's Saturday. You were gonna dig holes though on the Friday before.
Yeah. So it's October, is that what we figured out?
Yeah, it's October, that's what I had from last month. We have October 12th as the target date.
When it? Oh, they're doing it the following week.
Yeah, this is why they were staggering. This is why they were trying to. Okay,
Yeah, really.
We'll just have to walk around with Sheila or somebody.
all right. Do you wanna, should we do that the weekend before?
Do it earlier.
Yeah,
Okay,
the weekend, yeah, like the weekend before, you can only, you have 10 days that it's a legal dig.
well, I'm just saying that did you want to go out with Sheila to the resident's house to find out where they want to put the tree first? Is that what you're suggesting?
I think what we can do is we now have a list. We know who they are. Why don't we send out well, maybe what we'll do is we'll come up with a stake with a flag for
Okay,
everyone, let them place where they think they want them. Then we can go out, mark it properly so that it's properly marked, do a PA1 call.
okay,
And then I think it seems like that makes the most sense to me. And we'll quickly know if somebody wanted a shade tree in a place that we wouldn't be putting one anyhow. And so, and then if we need to have a conversation with them, we'll work on how to
Okay.
get that conversation.
all right. So you guys are gonna send a letter to each of the residents and,
Well, we'll probably do it via email. I'm
Okay.
gonna ask Mara to send an email.
okay. And then have them come here to the township to pick up the stakes or,
I'll talk to George about seeing if we can get stakes with just maybe like
You
an
can get
orange.
those cheap flags, a bundle of like 1,000 of them. They're
yeah,
Yeah.
like those little,
I might even have some,
little,
you know, they should be white since it's like
And did you
Great
say you were gonna dig the hole early?
the
mhm,
day before.
Then you better think about how you're gonna cover the hole temporary safe. You don't wanna leave a hole in the right of way and have somebody fall in it.
Yeah,
That would be a big problem.
I could,
So I don't know if you wanna cover it with, or have cones.
I mean,
That would at least-
I have 30 plastic ground mats. I could cover holes if I had to for the night.
I just wanted to throw
You know,
out
that's not a
that
problem.
option.
And I got plywood too. I could always cover the hole with that. I've done it before on jobs, you know. So,
okay, so we're. boom. Okay, so flag stake, so it'll be just one of those little things sent email. Email to each homeowner. Right,
and I would imagine if we had the trees before that, we could set them on site, like the night, like.
Yeah,
set
my
'em-
thoughts would be
We'll
that,
set them. Like take them to the residence where it's gonna be and set it like the night before when I dig or whatever, or that day, Friday.
probably the day you're digging, we'll probably have the public works team go around and we'll just have a trailer and you can just pull them off and set them as we go.
Okay,
What about, just like scheduling delivery for that day on site, move them one time? If you're gonna do it the 12th, the tractor trailer, drop off in that neighborhood on the 12th versus moving them.
probably the 11th would be better.
Yeah.
Cause that's when I'll
Sounds
be.
more efficient
Yeah.
than moving them.
Cause I would
multiple
imagine that
times.
people wanna help plan it, right?
mhm,
We want the
we
people
want them,
Yeah.
to help plan.
Yeah,
they
I
will
mean,
be helping, yeah,
The real, one of the things we want is we want people to have skin in the game. You know, I
I
mean,
mean,
the
I can dig the
idea,
hole, they can set it next to the hole, they can roll it in the hole or whatever, like.
I'm sorry, what?
I can dig the hole. Have the hole dug, and then the tree could be set next to the hole and it could be rolled in and stuff, you
Yeah.
know, a couple people, I mean, they're not gonna be that big, they're only gonna be 24-inch caliber, probably, 28 at the most. A 2-inch caliber tree, you know? Two inches.
24-inch.
What?
Yeah. I'm good.
all right, I'm just taking notes.
No, that's
So that
good.
I know what the process is, it's like, we talk about the process and oh. And then I forget what we agreed on. So you're gonna see if maybe, I mean, I think it makes sense to coordinate the delivery with coming in shortly before, but the thing would be if we can get them cheaper now, you know, so that would be what you're gonna figure out, right, Rob?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, okay, all right. Okay. Okay, okay. Total 18. Okay. All right, I think we have a game plan. And I forgot. Do I have to make a motion on anything to approve or it's
I
just?
think that this is really all discussion. I don't
Okay,
think there's,
that-
other than the fact that you're gonna stop taking orders, basically. I mean, I
Okay.
think if somebody in that area came in and wanted an order, we would probably go ahead and take it, but
Sure.
we haven't ordered the trees yet, up until the time we order the trees.
Right,
But once Rob makes the order, we're then done.
okay, I
Okay.
think that's completely fair.
And what's our number again?
37. Trees? What do you mean? The date?
No, cost, price, we
Oh,
could spend.
oh, good question. What was our budget?
Our budget was like 4,400. We divided it by
I thought it was-
200 because that was about the average price of your trees was gonna be about 200, and that's how we came up with the 37 number.
What? I thought it was like $7,000 between us and the EAC.
Well, our budget was 4,400. We were dividing it
Our
by
budget.
200.
Yes, but that was plus
Steve don't like that.
EACs.
Steve went like this in this number in his
I know.
head. He's like, that doesn't sound right.
All right, so.
I
we'll
think,
have to-
I think we're somewhere in that $7,000 range. I'll get you an exact.
Okay.
number.
It's like $7,400.
I think 7,400 sounds
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah,
I want to say that each one of you had 3,400 in your budget
right,
for this event.
right,
Okay.
okay.
But let me verify that. I don't have it right in front of me, but
Okay,
Good, if
All
I
right.
look back.
I don't know why, but 7,400 is in my head.
that number works times 37.
Okay,
So
all right,
37 times 200, that works. I think we did say something about like, we were hoping to get the trees for about an average of $200 a tree.
right.
Yeah.
Right, that sounds right. Okay,
Yes.
excellent. Okay. Any other questions, discussion? You good, Rob?
Good.
You got your marching orders?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right. Okay. Now I buried my agenda. There it is. Okay. Alrighty. All right.
9.2.
All right, 9.2, update on tree inventory training. Did we find the iPad?
We found an iPad, but we determined that it was not the right one. So I have asked them to place an order. They're in the process. They actually have 3 iPads that we're trying to trade in and get you a new one.
Okay,
Once we have that. Once we have that, we'll set a training,
okay,
because I cannot transfer from my program to you guys. It's
sure.
Totally different program, but
Gotcha.
same family, just different.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, all right. Oh, Shade Tree Ordinance.
Trish, I was talking to Andy, I have not had a chance, we just got your thing at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I
I'd like to have some time to read this and go through it, and I think Andy had something to go through.
Yep.
So that we can review it at the next meeting, just so we can understand your notes.
Yeah. that's-
Everything's on your track changes, I believe, is that you?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know why it came up the way that it did, but if you want to, we can just go through, because I really don't have that many. And I just had some questions and some suggestions and maybe what we could do. Thanks, Steve.
thanks, Steve.
How about we just go through my comments real quick, because there really aren't that many, and then we can discuss them, and then if you guys have any concerns, And then,
I've heard that.
Why don't you go through them and then let us go back and read them? Just go through them and then we can.
Okay. okay, cool. All right. All right, so let's start on the first page. Under the definitions, so that's 158-1. So, the definition has disease or dangerous trees or bushes. I recommend that we strike bushes.
I thought we did that.
It's
Okay.
still in here. And then also strike the reference to bushes throughout that paragraph. Because I don't see how we have any authority over bushes. And that really, to me, seems to be a code enforcement thing if it's obstructing a view or something like that. So I just made a recommendation to strike that because honestly, bushes aren't mentioned anywhere else in the ordinance, so it's out of place anyway.
Okay,
Do you agree with that?
yes.
Okay,
Round up the bush.
all right. All right, let's take those out. Okay, cool.
And
All right.
heritage goes to whatever tree.
So, yeah, so, I know we had some concerns about the heritage trees, so. It looks like it's been revised. It says a specimen tree identified by the Shade Tree Commission as having a DBH of 30 inches or higher or greater, or of such particular historical value that the commission deems it worthy of consideration by the Historic Preservation Commission or inclusion on the
So it should
historic.
just be not a heritage tree, especially.
Well,
Take heritage out, that's back.
they're combining it though. They're saying it's a specimen tree that's greater than 30, or it could be a heritage tree with historical value. So they've combined it into one. The thing that I have issue with is just that we have to identify it as a heritage tree. So I don't know how we're gonna do that.
I think it's not that I don't think it's that we're actively going out and defining it as a heritage tree, but if something, falls into our lap and we say, oh, well, this is big enough and important enough. So then we recommend it to the Historical Preservation Committee.
Yeah.
So,
So one of the things with the specimen or the heritage tree, like in the land development aspect of it, is that I don't know if that any additional, so I guess it would just apply to the replacement calculation for,
Yeah,
based on the
yeah.
DBH. But, yeah, so, okay,
Yeah, just leave it the way it is and then
Yeah, we'll
We'll
just leave
figure it
it.
we can figure it out later.
Okay.
Switch it later,
okay, sounds good. Yep.
Get this past.
Yeah, I agree.
First.
I
You know what mean?
totally agree. All right, so the other thing that I waffled on was the invasive trees. Because it says those identified in the ordinance, so. I was thinking that they wanted us to come up with a list of invasive tree or invasive plants to include, but that's not what it kind of is explained later in the ordinance where. We are to come up with a list
I
of.
thought the invasives were whatever Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm getting to. That's what I thought too. But what they want us to do is to come up with a list of invasive trees that let's just say there's an invasive tree that's in a right of way. And that those don't fall under the ordinance. So they want us to come up with a list of those invasive trees that wouldn't fall under the ordinance. I don't know, let's just say a tree heaven or something like that. But I don't understand why we wouldn't want
That you
somebody to
would-
replace it with a good tree, it's.
Yeah, it wouldn't, I think I think the invasives, it goes by and if it's in the right of way, it probably wasn't planted. If it was, I mean, invasive now could be a Bradford pear. But you're not gonna make people cut them down until they fail and then.
Right.
If they cut it down and it's in the right of way or it's in whatever,
Right, so my question is, so if there is an invasive tree that's in the right of way, the ordinance says that it doesn't fall under it, so they don't have to replace it with a good tree if they take it out, right? So, I mean, that's the thing that it's just like, this is just, I don't get it.
Your duties are outlined in 158-4B. The Shade Tree Commission shall have the authority over all shade trees and public trees within the township, and they are authorized to plant, remove, maintain, and protect shade trees, public trees, and those shade trees replace using the tree replacement formula. So that's what it currently says.
Right,
So-
but invasives aren't covered. They're excluded from the ordinance, so they wouldn't have to come in at all if they were cutting down one of those trees. So there would be no replacement.
Unless. And three, only had.
Still wouldn't fall under here though. But we wouldn't even see it. I think the way I read the ordinance is that if it's an invasive, it's excluded. They don't have to come in at all. I don't think it matters how many or whatever. If it's an invasive in the right of way, they don't have to come
We
in.
could probably. Work on that one.
Okay,
Work it.
Good.
Maybe so with-
and if they identified it properly.
Only go sugar maple tree.
So my preference would be is it doesn't matter if it's a invasive or not, because if it's in the right of way and it has to come down, we would really like to have it replaced with a good tree. So if they're coming, we would really like them to take it down actually, but we would like it to be replaced with a good tree. So, but the way that the ordinance reads right now, they don't have to come in at all because they're excluded from the ordinance. And I think the original one more or less said that too, and I think that purports with land development as well. But if we have an ability at least to manage the ones that are in the right of way, that would be great if we could have them come in and then have it be replaced with a good tree. Okay. And I don't think I really captured that comment in because I was chewing on it as well. I knew there was something that was bugging me about it, and this discussion helped me figure out what that was. So do you want me to put that in an email to you guys? Okay. Yeah, and I'm sorry for getting my comments to you guys so late.
How do you know which ones are yours?
Because I went through my comments aren't here. Actually, I think I'm A2. My comments are A2.
Well, I've got A3, A4, A5, A6.
Oh,
They're not assigned.
no, because I don't know why it's some
Well, you'll
setting.
sign it.
Okay,
It'll show up on your computer. If you're on your computer scrolling through it, it'll have it on it.
Ah,
okay.
okay.
So can I ask again about the right of way? Is the township going to provide an easy way for a homeowner to measure from the edge of the street into the property so they know what the right of way is, instead of making them go to the Public Works website and and try to figure out what the gauge is? People aren't going to understand how to do it. I think this is my biggest beef with this right now, is just that if we want people to comply with this ordinance, we need to make it as easy as possible for them to comply.
Andy, put it
I,
this way.
I understand.
Center line, say center line of the road. What's most of the township roads right away? 50 feet from the center line?
I would say a majority of the roads in the township have a 50-foot right of way.
Okay, so if we put in the ordinance as reference, but not rule of thumb, you can't put that in there.
I
25 feet.
don't think we.
Some are
25 feet.
some are 33 here. It's weird. Different streets are,
And some, yeah, I
you
mean,
can't tell somebody how to measure. They have to.
Like I know Springfield does. Most houses in Springfield, the house is set back 50 foot off the edge of the road. Anything in the front yard setback, you get a permit for it. It's just all the
There are
tree guys
lots
know
of
it,
ways
that's
to
what you
complain.
do.
well, I think my point to your concern is this. I mean, people file building permits every day and they don't know the code. They rely on us to direct them to the proper procedures in which to meet the planning of their project. So we can provide direction to those individuals who are looking for the information, and we can show them where the township road right-of-way evaluation chart is. When they have questions about it, staff fills in those gaps. So I don't know that we can easily provide something that is a one-size-fits-all.
I'm not
Because
saying a one size fits all. Why can't we just add another column?
The reason I was smiling is we had this conversation in nauseam. Let them go to the website. That way it's clear, we're not liable, they're not liable. Let them go to the website. It's the best solution. Why the website has all that information.
Okay, I'm not standing in the middle of the road as a homeowner to measure from the middle of the road to figure out where my right of way is.
And you don't have to do, because if you know because the chart itself that is the road, right-of-way evaluation chart provides the cartway width, so you can subtract half the cartway width. So if it's a 50-foot right-of-way and a 20-foot cartway, you take that 10-foot off half, and then from the curb line, you get the balance where the right-of-way is.
Right. And that's all on the website.
And
Very
that's
clear.
very easy to
Crystal
do. You don't
clear.
have to stand in the road. You just take a measurement from the edge of the cartway. All you're doing is subtracting from half the right of way, half the cartway width. And the balance is what
As
your
long
right
as the
of way.
road's in the middle of the right of way.
I have to go look at something for George, but I want to make sure, Carol, has Mr. Flynn got you his articles that he needs to do, or is he still delinquent? I would like to know the answer to that. He's up to speed?
Well, we didn't need anything this month because everybody was delinquent last month, so this month we have last month.
Which is Mr. Flynn's?
Including Mr. Flynn's and including yours.
Was his spelling and grammar okay?
Marvel.
Spell check's real.
Pictures.
What, you gotta go, John? Okay,
I guess,
Okay.
I guess he did up a little bit.
okay.
Oh, but we are gonna need something for this coming month. Well, you've been doing a plan of the month, so if you give me a plan of the month by the,
see something else.
give me something,
I'll give you 3 ideas, you come up with one more.
okay. Right,
That do?
thanks.
Oh.
Whatever month's coming up.
September.
John,
Right.
I thought you just said you have one last month for this month. Would be fine for October. Right? Say she already has, we can have one last month, you have one for this.
Well, you
month.
come
Make
up with
sure.
some ideas and I'll figure it out and let you know.
Bye, John. All right, so my next concern is on the shade tree definition. So it specifies just native trees. So that means if there is a non-native tree, not an invasive, just a non-native tree, that would not fall under the ordinance. They would be excluded if it was only native trees. And I don't think that was the intent here. So my recommendation is to strike native species, just say any tree. Because I see that, that Rich had an issue with approved, so, which I think I agree with him there, so that should be stricken, and it should just read any tree fully or partially within the ultimate right of way.
I go back to we had spoken earlier about chapter 104 and some of the duplicity that offers. I think that we've been talking about an approved list, and you can always add a caveat to that to say, or otherwise approved by this committee.
Well,
So
no,
I
this
think you
is the-
need to focus on whatever trees you want to approve and
it's not the tree list. These are the definition of a shade tree. So the shade tree definition, which are street trees. So on a private, so if there is a non-native tree in the right of way, it would not fall under this ordinance.
Well, why don't we just do
Okay.
any tree?
That's what I mean.
That's-
That's
And
what I'm
then
saying.
then it takes care of your invasives.
That's what we need, yes.
Well, except, yeah, but
Then it
except
takes
for
care,
the,
then it takes care of your invasives too. There's an invasive.
no,
species,
because
and
it
they gotta
also
do-
says in there that the invasives are excluded.
Well, take it
so-
out.
No, that's a definition.
Yeah, so
We're
But-
in the
So
dictionary.
what this, if native stays in there, Andy, it's going to completely narrow further the scope of what we can regulate.
Well,
or-
it can't be in there. It just
It,
cannot.
yeah, it can't, because it would exclude so many other species. So it should not say native. So that's the thing. So our tree list that we have has non-natives on it. Our approved replacement tree list has non-natives. So they wouldn't fall under the ordinance either if native stays in.
Well, we can adjust our list if we have to. I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't remember how many non-natives
There-
we had. there.
No, but John made some really good points, given the diseases that are coming up, and some of these species are better because they're more disease resistant and et cetera, et cetera. He had really good reasons why we had some of those non-natives
Yeah.
on that list. So
But as
that
a,
comment's reflected in there, but my recommendation is that we strike that specificity from it, because it really limits the scope.
so basically what this is definition of shade tree.
Right.
Of
Of
a
a
shade
street
tree.
Yes, and it's street trees, by the way.
And a shade tree, it turns out to be a street tree according to the state, okay.
Yes.
So, basically, if we're going to do any replacements, we want to go native if we can. But as a definition of a street tree, nativity is not.
Shouldn't have
it
any
shouldn't-
factor in
Shouldn't
it,
be in there.
right? That shouldn't be a factor, right? I really don't have that many more. The bulk of them were in there.
Yes, except.
I know, I'm trying to get out of here. Okay, so the only other thing that I have is under 158.4. And this sort of comes back to where we were talking about the removal of trees. So we can make recommendations to have trees removed if they're hazardous or diseased. Can we make the recommendation? I would kind of like to see that we can make a recommendation, or that we should be making a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors to have that diseased tree replaced. Because right now it doesn't say anything about replacing the tree, just we can say cut it down. So what I'm kind of thinking is that when we make the recommendation for the tree removal, we also make a recommendation for a replacement, but according to
Depends on
this-
where it is.
right. I mean, we would have the option to be able to do that, but right now, we don't have that option, it appears, as the way this is
Oh,
written.
it doesn't say we can't.
Well, it doesn't say we can, and that we get pushed back by saying, we can't assume that, it needs to be explicit.
Well, I think your suggestion is viable. And it will be determined, they'll have to decide that,
Right,
because as I understood it, the primary reason the ordinance was being amended was to limit the scope of this committee to public trees which are not on private property.
Right.
So I mean, I think that there's a mixing of terms and responsibility again by saying, yes, you shall have the ability to recommend things on private property.
Well, but they're only in the right of way. So these are I thought, or maybe, am I assuming that?
It doesn't say that.
Oh.
It says require owners of property to cut and remove disease or
Oh.
dangerous trees
Yes.
located on private property.
So that should be.
Oh, so that should be changed to right of way.
Yeah,
I assumed that's what it meant.
but you also, you already have the ability to recommend the removal and replanting of trees in the right of way under
True.
subsection
Oh.
B.
10-4, right, okay, got you, okay. Got you. So we could do that regardless.
You have, you have the authority under the proposed revisions to recommend and request removal or replanting on public land and in the right of way.
Okay. Okay. That works. And then my next comment was under 158-6, planting, maintaining, and removal of shade tree or public trees. Rich had a comment about he's not aware of any authority for fee in lieu replacement trees for street trees. And I did a quick search and I don't know if this has any bearing, but it looks like Title 8 of the Pennsylvania General Assembly Code or something along those lines. It dictates, it actually explains. I really wish I had found that before because now I understand where the sequencing a lot better. It makes more sense to me, but it was section 2720 of that code, and I put a link to it in my comments in the Word document that I sent to you. But I just threw it out there. I don't know if that, because they had mentioned something about fees and things like that. And I don't know if it works. I don't even know if it applies, but I just threw that out there just because I
Okay.
don't know if we could tier from that, you know, because it
Right.
seems like, because that section is all related to shade trees. And so, and it had something about the violations and fee assessments or something along those lines. So I thought maybe there might be a way we could legally link that, but I don't know. I just threw
Understood.
that out there.
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer.
I see where it's I see where it's at.
Okay.
The next one,
Yeah, I think,
the pruning,
oh,
are we leaving pruning in there? I thought we were taking it out. Are we gonna make someone come down here for a permit for pruning?
for pruning, is that in prohibited activities? Where are you? Well, I thought that was because it was like the topping and they weren't allowed to, what are you, which section are you looking at, Rob?
I don't know,
Just look at what number.
what 58.7, whatever's above it.
Okay. Oh, the pruning, that one.
I thought we took that out when we had our meeting upstairs. Just doesn't it say in the beginning, like,
Yeah, but if we have control over maintenance though. It's like what Andy had pointed out, like where our, because this is where our scope of our responsibilities are. Says the Shade Tree Commission shall have the authority over all shade trees and public trees within the township or to plant, remove, maintain, and protect shade trees.
I thought we discussed typically. The
How many people do you honestly think are gonna be coming in here to prune?
I don't know, how many come in to cut down trees? No.
I don't think anybody still is.
What's that?
You still,
So do you want to make a recommendation to,
I don't have to make a, we can just write it down, yeah, I mean, that's,
all right.
I thought we took that out, there's a few things. The stumps we took out and the spraying we took out.
Okay.
That's the things I wrote.
So can you send an email to, okay. Okay. Write it down
Sure, it's
on my,
paper.
write it down on my paper and then I will send an email to them. So here, just write it, just find it in my, that's all I had.
Okay.
Andy,
Well-
one question I have.
Think it helped.
I know,
That ain't the right.
one question I had, I noticed when I was reading through the ordinance that permits keeps popping up here, there, and everywhere. So once this whole thing is approved, their permits are going to be activated and required for all these different things?
Well, we already have a tree work permit.
Yeah, nobody uses it, but.
Well,
we have it.
we started out using it because there was a lot, we were finding a lot of work being done on private property. And that's what kind of initiated the rewrite. Because there was, I guess there was more review being done on it and that was not the intent. It was found out that the way it was currently worded wasn't the intent of it. So then we kind of pulled that back, but there are some being issued, some being issued, like George was going to have work done in Drexel Park Lodge. That would require the permit.
Okay, because I just noticed the permit was mentioned in almost every section, and I was like,
Right.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't even know we were still doing it, so
Yeah.
I was assuming that once this was all finalized, that then the permit thing would. be-
No, I mean, I think it's still active. We just utilize it a lot less.
Right,
Okay.
so people are supposed to come in if they're planning to plant or remove street trees their trees in the right of way. They're supposed to come in. And the township will come to us if there's any kind of plantings or, like what everyone's doing right now, with like Paul coming in here for Goshen Road, where they want to have approval for planting in the park or along a trail, because that's all the private or the public property we are responsible for. So they would come in and get a permit. So if George wanted to take down a bunch of trees in a park, then he would have to come in and fill out the permit. But that's what it's
right
limited to.
away?
So we are no longer
I know you're doing.
reviewing any land development, codes, anything under land development at all.
Yeah. But these permits are on our thing, they're not in land development.
No, I know that, but so land development permitting stuff is separate from what ours is was my point.
Yes, that's what it's in Springfield,
Okay,
because they make you get another $25 permit
Right.
in Springfield.
Where's my agenda? Did you write down? Oh, thank you. Okay. I lost my agenda again. Oh, there it is.
9.4.
Thank you. All right. I will summarize Rob's and my extra comment and send an email to you and John with the comments that we have on the ordinance. So do we need to take any action at this point?
I mean, unless the rest of you want to agree, I think you want to see John's comments, John Hodgebox comments.
Yeah.
Next month,
Okay,
review them. At that meeting, there should be some agreement as that's what that's what this committee's recommendation is to the Board of Supervisors.
right.
And then that document will be forwarded to them for their final review.
Okay,
And that'll include Mr. Score's original comments. So,
Right.
this was my draft. Rich amended it. You're amending it,
okay,
and then we'll submit all of those comments at one time.
okay. Okay, okay. Discussion and possible action regarding the 2024 budget items. We don't have anything,
Well, we were doing trees
right?
and an iPad. That was it, right?
I think
But
so.
the trees were,
Twenty
trees,
twenty-four, that includes the shirts, the banner, the name tags, all those things.
Right,
oh, I thought we were talking about next year's budget.
Not next year's, no, we're talking about the ones from this year, the things that we ordered last year
Yeah, I
that we
mean-
haven't gotten yet.
They were supposed to get back to me.
okay, yeah, no one's
Only
got,
thing we gotta do is order those,
The
the
shirts.
measuring sticks
oh, the sticks and the shirts,
and the shirts. But she was supposed to get back to me
okay,
about the shirts.
okay, we'll just keep following up, all right.
Name tags and banners and all that
Yep.
fun stuff.
Oh, I thought we were talking about.
So, well, but for next year though,
We were
Um,
tree planting. Did you have a number that we discussed? Carol?
was it in the minutes from past?
For what?
Tree planting for next Arbor Day. We were gonna do monies, put it into budget for tree planting without EAC, just us.
Well, use Arbor Day it is just us.
But we're also gonna be taking over the tree giveaway program,
In the fall.
yeah,
But if we do a big, yeah, one of the things we talked
Well, we can,
One of the things we talked about was trying to do another one like what we're doing this fall,
Right.
trying to do another one in the spring
In
for
Arbor
Arbor Day. And
but what was the money that money amount we were gonna do to the township request, like 10 grand or something? Weren't we gonna
something
do?
like that, yeah. It
It
was
was a little bit more.
I think so. I
She
think
was
that
gonna
was
spend,
Side,
I
you
think
had
it was
to
10
reject it.
grand. Yeah, but for the spring planting and the fall planting together, it was said, it was 10,000. Okay, we're thinking 5,000 for each one. But if we keep Arbor Day as just a single one, then we have more money for the fall one.
Because originally we said like 20 and Steve like laughed.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We gotta get out of here because planning's gonna be getting in here soon. All right, so I don't think we have any action on that. One thing though, for next year though, I was talking with Sheila. And I guess they had the budget was also on their agenda, and Stephen had asked that that Shade Tree take over in totality the tree giveaway. And they would certainly offer to help and support, but we would do the planning and so all the money regarding that would come out of our request, our budget request, which I think is what we kind of talked about last month as well. But that was the only thing I had to add. Okay. All right. All right, so no action. All right, public comment, we had that already. Items for the next agenda. I guess we'll have the
Ordinance.
well, pretty much all the same things that are under the old business will be next month.
Just the same.
Right. So unless we have any land development, that should be coming off of our agenda once the ordinance is passed. Okay. I think that's it. All right. We're adjourned.
6:25.
All right.
Make me say.
All right. Okay, great. We'll make papers on this.
I gotta find this today.